How about we talk about something else? Last week, last week we talked about our top 10 weird match types, and we omitted one. It's a divisive one. It's split fans into two camps. Some think it's the worst, most complicated match there is, and others think, yeah, it's okay. I'm on the side that, yeah, it's okay. We're talking about the King of the Mountain match. I got the merch. I got the DVD. I got. Check out my cool shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's got everything but common sense.
So, what we are about to do, John will lay out his critique of the King of the Mountain match, and I will tell him why he is an uneducated pleb who doesn't understand great quality wrestling.
Before we get into
something
that,
like
there, I want to make a point of going through the rules of the King of the Mountain match for some of our listeners and viewers who are not aware of it before. King of the Mountain match was a match established within the TNA, NWA era of TNA, and the idea was that it was meant to try and bring the elements of a ladder match, but kind of change it up a bit into a new format. The way the match works is it usually has 5 people. For every match that I've seen, it has 5 participants, and each of those 5 participants need to hang up a belt on top of a hook in the center of the ring. However, before they are able to hang up said aforementioned belt, they have to become eligible to hang up said aforementioned belt. How they do so is by scoring a pinfall or a submission against an opponent in the ring, thus allowing them to take the belt and hang up the belt on top of said aforementioned hook to secure the win. The person who is pinned or submitted is then spends 2 minutes in a penalty box while the rest of the match goes on and continues. There is an issue in the sense that if the belt is dropped in the process of being hung up, it is returned to the individual, the official that is holding the belt. But bear in mind, when you become eligible, you have to then collect the belt from the official to then hang it up. Inside said time frame, another eligible opponent can steal the belt from you and hang it up. But if you drop the belt in the process of hanging up the damn belt to get your win, the belt has to be then returned to the official and the process started again.
You know, you can make any match sound complicated if you over-explain it like this. You know, a tag team match works by 2 opposing factions, henceforth called tag teams, who can be made up out of 2, 3, or any number of wrestlers.
So
only one man. You can overcomplicate a tag match, like the tag rope, and you can explain how pinfalls work, and submissions work, and rope breaks, and inside the ring, and outside the ring, and tornado tag rules, and all that stuff.
So the problem I have is that it's convoluted as all hell. But like in regards to a tag match with tag ropes and stuff, they don't deter typically from the ability to win most of the time. Where the problem is that you have to secure a pin or a submission, which in normally any other match wins the damn match. So they've already ruined the concept of how a match is won. Then they've talked about the idea that you have to then get the belt from the official, meaning that you have to go and find the belt off someone, put it up and then get up a ladder and put it on the ladder. You talk about the idea of having people intercept the belt if they're eligible to, and a penalty box. Let me tell you why this is terrible. How do fans in the arena follow what's going on? Oh, is he meant to be in the penalty box? No, wait, he's not meant to be in the penalty box. But is he eligible? I don't know. I can't remember if he's eligible. Oh, wait, he's dropped the belt. So now we have to wait for the belt to go back before we can get before we can go and grab it and put it on the hook again. That is a logistical nightmare. That is legitimately a logistical nightmare. Fans in the arena trying to keep track of who's eligible to put or not put the bloody belt up in the first place is already a nightmare. the pinfall submission thing, if you're watching it for the first time, would automatically make you think that the match is already over, because that's how matches fucking end. And then also the idea of having to climb up a ladder, put the belt up onto the actual hook is ludicrous, because just say they have a planned spot to drop the belt that creates the tension. What happens if it's dropped by accident? You've just ruined the flow of the match. There's like so much. There's so much sections for error that it could just completely ruin the flow of the match. Now let's look at this from the perspective of a production standpoint. Who the hell do you film when you're trying to make this match an actual spectacle for live television? Do you concentrate on the people in the ring? Do you concentrate on the official? Do you concentrate on the people in the bloody suspension box? It is a logistical nightmare.
Look at the Money in the Bank ladder match. So many participants. Who are you going to film? Are you going to film the people?
You know what the difference is, though? You know what the difference is? There's one objective.
You focus on the action.
Yeah.
You focus on the action.
Which is usually in one place. This has action in 5 of them.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Like, the Money in the Bank ladder match has action all over until, like, all the...
But the objective is in one place. So that means you can just if you get confused in a Money in the Bank match, you can focus on one area and know there's one point of win. In a King of the Mountain match, you're having to focus on a penalty box somewhere, an official holding a belt, who's in the ring trying to get pins or submissions.
Why do you have to focus on the penalty box?
Because if someone comes out of the penalty box, it's technically a run-in, which is an additional individual that could break up a key event, like the hanging of the belt or breaking up a pinfall or submission.
That's like saying in every match you have to put your eyes... Keep your eyes on the entrance, because someone could run in. No, you keep your eyes on the match. And if someone runs in, you notice it when he runs in.
Yes, but the fact of the matter is that we saw him go into the penalty box knowing that we know he's going to come at some point. Where if it's a run-in, it's a surprise. When it's in a penalty box, we know it's going to happen, which draws our attention away. And then think about that from a camera point logistical standpoint when you're trying to broadcast this on the live television. It's terrible. Think of it's literally Kevin Dunn's dream, because it's just jump cut city. It's terrible. It's like Kevin Dunn invented the damn match because he loves his jump cuts.
Can you explain to me how this is like really different from a Money in the Bank ladder match? Because I can't see it. In a Money in the Bank ladder match, you got people fighting all around the ring as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
how's that? But the focus is in one area, where in the King of the Mountain match, you have to focus on who's eligible. Meaning you're looking for the pinfall and submissions. Never mind the bloody ladder, to see who's even eligible to put the thing on the ladder. Which means you've got split attention, because you have multiple objectives that you're trying to follow with 5 individuals, meaning that you have 5 eligibility points, of which a person could become eligible to put the bloody thing on the damn hook, never mind just putting it on the hook. Where in a Money in the Bank, you just gotta take the briefcase down. There's no prerequisite.
Yeah, but that's why I think it could be argued that the King of the Mountain match is an improvement of the ladder match, because in a ladder match like this, you have to put in all those stupid tropes, like how Money in the Bank ladder match usually goes. It's like chaos at the beginning, but then it's always 2 people in the ring, and everyone else has to play that. And I don't know.
You think that's not happening in King of the Mountain plus all the other stuff? Like that will happen in King of the Mountain plus additional plus extra. I mean.
The condition that you have to qualify to hang the belt to the ring, I feel like give this another stake. And you could argue that pinning your opponent, putting them in the penalty box, is a strategic move. It's less opponents. They don't have to play that somewhere around the ring. But you have a legit storyline reason why they can't interfere now.
But you know what ruins it? Too many feckin' people. It's 5 people, which means you have to factor in that 5 times, which means you have that happening either way too often or way too sporadically, and it just detracts from any of the actual main action. If it had been like a freeway or even just a one-on-one, it would work fine. But because they got 5 people, trying to negotiate and logistically plan that is a nightmare. Just planning that's a nightmare. Watching it, depending on your perspective, even worse. Because you have to then factor in 5 people who either need to get pinned or submitted, 5 people who then need to go into a penalty box at some point, and then also 5 people then scrambling to get the belt up. Now, if it's just 5 people putting the belt up, that would be cool. But the fact of the matter is that you have to, if the belt is dropped, because just imagine you have 5 people. If we get past the fact that all of them are not eligible, which means the penalty box is no longer going to play, we got rid of that. Great. Okay. Then we got 5 people trying to put the belt up onto the actual ladder. At least that centralizes the actual focal point. But the fact that someone drops the belt and it hits the floor, you have to reset the thing all over again. That just kills the flow of a match.
I feel you're like putting too much effort, too much emphasis on this resetting, because that's not how the match usually works.
But that is a rule, though, and we have to base it on the rules. We have to factor in. You wanted a critique on the match. I am critiquing the match because that is an official rule, and that is a possibility.
I feel like if stuff like that happens, even when you said you have to locate a specific ref and go over to him. No, what they usually do is they reach out their hand in a specific, or in any direction actually, and the belt is handed to them.
Yeah, but but if the belt is dropped, then wait a second, guys, we have to get this belt into this official's hand again and wait for someone to get handed the belt again. That just ruins the flow. It's such a terrible concept.
So in a Money in the Bank ladder match, when you drop the belt, now you have to get off the ladder and grab the belt again. It ruins the flow.
But at least at that point, it was actually at the cost of someone taking a spot. Whereas, just say 2 people are just, trying to climb up, or just say it's even one person trying to climb up, and he makes the accidental mistake of missing the hook or something, because it'll happen. We all drop stuff. We're human. It's not even a planned spot, but I dropped the belt. Oh, crap, that was the spot. I was meant to win there. Oh, for God's sake, now it's back to the official. I have to go get it off the official again.
Dude, the official will slide in the ring, pick up the belt. By this time, the wrestler's down there, takes the belt, goes up again.
But it's still...
If the rule wasn't in place, he still had to go down, pick the belt up himself. Now he goes back up again.
Then why have the stupid rule in there? Why put a rule like that in there?
Because someone needs to have the belt. That's
so stupid. Why do they have to have the belt? There's no justification for it.
To hang it.
So someone has to get the belt back off the official? You've just placed I would be fine if they just got off the ladder and lifted the belt back up again, but the fact of the rule is that, they have to get the belt off the official again. Why is the official even there? You've just justified the entity of an individual for no reason.
I haven't gone back and watched all of the King of the Mountain matches I missed, but it probably happened like this, that a wrestler just went down, picked the belt up again, and went up there.
So the rules
probably happened.
Then? What was the point in having the rule then?
What is the point of having a tech rope? The rules is ignored.
But the difference is that a tag match is a fundamental match that's probably seen, thanks to AEW, 2 to 3 times a week bare minimum, versus a King of the Mountain match, which we've seen was maybe once every 2 years. They made a big deal of this match.
It was once a year at one point at least.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't a regular match. So you can overlook the ignorance of a rule like a tag rope in a match that happens like at least 10 to 15 times in the space of 4 to 5 months, versus a match that happens at one point once a year and then got elongated to once every 2 to 3.
Yeah, but you're like you're treating this like the company focused so much on this one specific rule. Like
they created the
Mike
rule.
Tenay and Don West were all over in your ears. Oh, if you drop the belt, the ref has to pick it up and you have to get it from the ref again. Don't forget about this rule. It's the most important rule of all of them.
If it's not important, why make it a rule?
To have it regulated for the first time, where do you get the belt from? Oh, the ref has it.
But then, if it's a rule, it has to be followed, which means it just causes issues, and you're factoring this on top of a logistical nightmare, as we already spoke about with the cages and the eligibility stuff. Overall, it's a clusterfuck of rules. It's if they just had it like kept it simple and said we're doing a reverse ladder match. You put the belt on top of the damn there's the belt starts on a feckin' pedestal at the start of the match. First person to hang the damn belt on top of the goddamn hook wins. That would have been
That
way
sounds
better.
horrible.
That sounds
horrible.
I've just done it's the King of the Mountain match, and I've just took out all of the massive amounts of stupidity and literally logistics. I've just made it so it's Money in the Bank, but simplified, and it makes sense.
Yeah, but then everybody has to scramble in the ring, and then you have to do all the stupid spots where like all but 2 competitors are laid on.
Which is happening anyway, though. It happens anyway in the King of the Mountain match. So like,
if it happens anywhere in the King of the Mountain match, then you can't critique that. Oh, where do I focus on? Obviously there, because only 2 are there.
No. Because the reason why I critiqued is because these spots happen, but then there's other stuff on top of that are focal points on top of these spots. I've not critiqued the spots where people get laid out. I've critiqued the fact that you have to think about who is eligible, who is not eligible, and then who is the penalty box.
Insulting the intelligence of wrestling fans once again, John.
Yeah, I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to put it very, very bluntly right now. Some wrestling fans are either stupid and won't follow it, or find it boring and will switch over. Guess what happened? They switched over. If it was such an important match, why'd it go from once a year to like a year's gaps? Because they knew it wasn't getting over.
You don't switch over when you're watching a pay-per-view. I guarantee
really, when I get fed up of a pay-per-view, I'd switch on to something else. It may not be wrestling, but I'll watch something else if I'm bored.
You just paid $60 for this. You ain't switching over.
I have done that before. I have paid for stuff. I've walked out of cinemas because the movie was boring. If I'm willing to do that for a cinema, I'm willing to do that for a pay-per-view.
Okay.
But if it's too convoluted. Wrestling fans don't want convoluted matches. Like what is always the biggest complaints when we have these stipulation matches? It's just massive amounts of fluff that don't make sense. But like we've literally criticized the Mimosa match because it's a stupid stipulation. Stupid stipulations are stupid for a reason, because they just don't add anything or any value to the match. King of the Mountain stipulations don't add anything to the match. It's too overbooked.
I feel like it does add something to the match. And that's the pinfalls or submissions, the falls. I feel like it adds extra drama to the match, because it makes all the little moves meaningful, because they can lead to a qualification to win the actual match. They all lead to someone being put in the penalty box to be off limits for now. You said there's so much more going on there, and I feel like it enriches the match, makes it more strategic. You could strategize in kayfabe. You can strategize it better, and it makes it more like chess instead of checkers.
Right, but the problem is that a live product, and the problem I have with this here, I have no problem with strategic approaches to matches, but when the audience is trying attention is too divided, it's hard to follow the match. And when we look at that from a production standpoint, it's a logistical nightmare trying to film it, because they do have to film these things. Like, they do have to film the person going into the cage. They have to then film the person coming out of the cage. Like, they have to time this, because they do plan these spots, which means you're trying to then logistically plan this and also make sure that your audience is following it okay inside the arena, because they're not going to have the total benefit of the actual recorded equipment. It's logistically a nightmare. It's convoluted.
You made your points. I feel like I couldn't quite make mine, but we're running kind of short on time. So let me go for some closing remarks.
Okay.
TNA did a lot of weird stuff. They were trying to be different. They had a 6-sided ring, because a 4-sided ring was too much like WWE. They had weird matches. They had a lot of pole matches. They had Ultimate X matches, which were actually good.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, they had Chris Harris and James Storm fight blindfolded in a cage, which was a horrible idea. They had Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe fight in a mixed martial arts cage match, was which was actually a good idea. What I was saying, they were trying to do something different. Some of that was a hit, some of that was a miss. They were kind of weird. They were a weird kind of indie underground wrestling company shooting for the stars. And even if they were this really strange entity at one time in my life, they were my strange entity. It was back when TNA was my wrestling. And I think looking back, I really loved the King of the Mountain match because it was the WrestleMania main event of TNA.
Was that a Slammiversary special?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm glad you had those memories. I'm sorry I do not share those opinions. I will say that I definitely enjoy the X Division match because they were great matches. There was an interesting approach to what would be considered to be a standardized ladder match. I like the concept. They innovated on that there. There was some stupid matches because, Russo got in there and poles were involved.
I feel like, I didn't script out those closing remarks. It was extemporaneous speaking. And I feel like it was a great segue into ending the show. And here you go rambling on.
I was complimenting your opinions on some of your your match choices. And
well, do that offline. You're a heel now.
oh, am I? You heard it, guys. I'm a heel now. Obviously, we had a lovely discussion there on the King of the Mountain match, guys. We want to hear your opinions, though, of course, because these sort of topics are definitely little. I like to call them case studies into some wrestling curiosities, and obviously these are things that kind of get us interested as fans. We like to see, we like to look back on some of the things that were done right and done wrong in wrestling. I mean, the great thing about wrestling is that no one shares opinions in the sense that everyone agrees with each other. There's always going to be speculation what you think the best match is. Hell, still people to this day arguing if Brett was better than Shawn, and it will happen for the next 20 years. But that's the great thing about wrestling. The opinion doesn't have to be right by everyone, but as long as you're happy with it, that's the main thing.